Welcome to the Coffee Club, broadcasting live from New York with your host, Felix, and co-host, Dr. Mark. So let's have a cup of coffee and enjoy the show.
There is no heaven. There is no hell.
Come on, do it right.
There is only... Continue on.
There is only this world, and its dark reflections, and we do not know in which of the two worlds we are.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our show. My name is Felix.
And I am Dr. Mark, and this is a very much abridged version of the Coffee Club.
Correct. But we are the Coffee Club.
That's right, and today's topic is hi-ho, hi-ho. It's off to war we go.
Again.
That's true, again. And if you don't think, ladies and gentlemen, that this is not a war, you have another guest coming.
No matter what the president says, this is a war.
You know, you listen to the Sunday news shows, the talk shows, and you have Lindsey Graham saying that ISIL will not be defeated unless there are boots on the ground, and you know he's talking about American boots on the ground. What I have to say is, who's going to be backing us up? I don't want American troops to... Well, first of all, I don't want any American troops on the ground.
But, again, the problem is, and as some of the people in Pentagon will say off the record, what are the choices? You really have to. There is no choice. ISIL is getting bigger by the day. Over 30,000, troops or savages.
You know, nobody has the trained army that America has. But at this stage of the game, America is so war-weary. You know, you've had 3, 4, and in some cases 5 deployments by soldiers. This is why so many of them are coming home war-weary with PTSD and traumatic brain injury, and it's just unconscionable.
It's true, and we have this horrible, bunch of terrorists just walking around, killing everybody in sight.
They are literally beheading people at will because they know that public opinion is against having America continue any kind of war after being so war-weary between Iraq and Afghanistan.
And what they're actually doing is playing a mind game with us. All these videos they take, which are very well, done. They're done in English and in Arabic and I don't know how many other languages. They're displayed over social media everywhere. And they're there to scare the opponents. They're there to recruit more troops. And it's working on all fronts. They're doing very well.
And they also know that public opinion in America is very much against continuing any kind of a war in the Middle East with American troops. You listen to Senator John McCain, who is going steady with Lindsey Graham, has been for a long time, and he's also talking about boots on the ground, and this is what has to be done. But you know something, Felix, I keep remembering that song by Phil Oakes. I ain't marching anymore. It's always the old who lead us to the war and always the young to fall. Okay, look at all we've won with a saber and a gun. Tell me, is it worth it all? And we haven't won anything in the Middle East. 10 years we left Iraq, and we're going to be leaving Afghanistan the same way we left Vietnam.
And ISIL has one advantage over Al-Qaeda and most of the other terrorist groups. They have money.
And imagine how much more powerful they would be if they combined forces with Al-Qaeda and somehow get a hold of a couple of Syrian jets and learn how to fly those things, then they become a real terror to this country and any other country in the West.
Well, the jets would never reach here, but that doesn't matter. The whole point is, though, they are that they are self-sufficient now, bringing in over $3 million a day in. They're selling the oil at discount prices in the black market, and it would appear that Jordan and Turkey has looked the other way, because that's where the trucks are going with the oil.
Well, in Turkey, ISIS has 70 Turkish diplomats that they're holding, and Turkey is very much worried that any one of their diplomats could be the next one beheaded. As we said, ISIS isn't afraid to do this with impunity. Nothing is happening to them.
ISIS must have been reading the Bible and the history of the Crusades, because they're doing the same thing as the Crusades were doing when they were marching into Jerusalem, killing everybody in the way.
That's right. The First Crusade in 1096, I believe. About 1096, 1095. The Crusaders from the West marched into Jerusalem, and on the next day they slaughtered every Muslim in the town, men, women, and children. They ransacked the mosques. They went into a Jewish temple, and the people who were seeking sanctuary, who weren't fighting at all, they killed all the Jews. Okay? And, what we have now, as you aptly pointed out in the past, Felix, we have ISIS behaving in that same way.
Except they're killing Christians and Muslims, same thing, and Jews. Nothing's changed.
That's right. It's only a matter of
different hat.
A little less than 1,000 years.
They're wearing a different hat, but they're doing the same thing, and all in the name of, I guess you want to call it religion, even though if you read some of the prayers of the Muslim religion, they seem to be peace-loving people.
It only says in the Quran that you should try to convert the infidel. Okay? It doesn't say anything about killing the infidel.
Chopping their heads off or anything like that. Not as far as we know, but, you could read something and interpret it to whatever way you want it to be.
Unfortunately, and that's what's happening with the Quran.
And the other thing is, as I said, they're well funded, and these people are paying their followers very well. So I wonder how many of these are actually just mercenaries who are just following them for the money and no other reason. I don't know.
I don't think the al-Baghdadi, I don't think he really cares one way or the other, as long as he can count on these men and women in some cases
and children
to do his bidding.
And what's happening, as I said, with all the social media and all the videos they put out, and internet messages, Twitter, whatever else they're doing, Facebook, for all I know, they are doing a great job. They're scaring the enemies where enemies are just walking away.
Well,
they're recruiting, as I said, troops.
And
they're sticking it up our asses, basically.
It's going to be very interesting to watch Congress debating this, wondering which way it's going to go. And by the president's own admission, this is not going to be over in a few months or even a few years. This is going to continue into the next administration, no matter who the president is. Because once you've committed troops, you have to follow through. You have to have some sort of end game here, as has been pointed out, America is great at fighting a war, but we are very poor when it comes to the way we exit a country once we think that the job has been done. And, you have, again, Lindsey Graham, John McCain saying that we should have left troops behind, that all of this wouldn't be happening if American troops were left behind.
Or if we never entered the damn war, which was...
Well, but you see, they won't say that because they're neocon Republicans. That's why. Conservatives. Bush and Rumsfeld and Cheney sold us a bill of goods, and the only one who prospered from this was Dick Cheney, okay, because his coffers just grew while American boys and men and women were killed.
The problem is everybody, as you know, everybody said, oh, they've got weapons of mass destruction, they got this and that. They had nothing except a leader that was keeping their country in check.
That's right. Between Saddam Hussein and Muammar Gaddafi, and I almost hate to include him, but Hosni Mubarak in Egypt. I mean, you had three dictators here that
and
were
how
keeping...
about Iran? They're keeping their people in check?
No, I'm not talking... No, they are very much anti-America.
But they're keeping the people... No,
I'm talking about... we had nothing to fear from Iraq. We had nothing to fear from Egypt. We have nothing to fear...
from Syria.
And we get involved, and we do away with two of the dictators, and what do you have? Yeah, you have a puppet government where the Shia are not allowing Sunnis to be represented in their government. And what's going on? You have people, you have an uprising. This is exactly what it is. It's almost like taxation without representation back in our own revolutionary days.
And why are we in the middle of this? It makes no sense.
This is their fight. And unfortunately, if this is going to be what I think it's going to be, then our very young children of 10 years old will be fighting this war 10 years from now without any end in sight.
Well, listen, I mean, if you want to be realistic and you really want to be hawkish, there's 30,000 troops there. Put in 100,000 American troops, wipe them out, that's it.
The only way you could do that is almost, I hate to say this, but using nuclear power. That's the only way to wipe them out. We're bombing them now, and it doesn't make a difference.
Bombing does not do the trick. Unfortunately,
I understand that.
You need troops on the ground. You want to just put in 100,000 troops and just wipe them out. It's the only way it's going to work. Just come in and slaughter them.
Well, that's the military talking, and
slaughter them.
I'm sorry. I don't think. Look, and this is why ISIS is getting away with this, because they know how divided this country is.
It doesn't have to be all American troops. If you can get 15, we're going to, in a minute, if you can get 10,000 troops from a couple of different countries, you got more troops than ISIS has. ISIS has no ocean, has no navy.
I don't think you'll be able to get 100,000 boots on the ground of Syrians and Iraqis, and anybody else who is volunteering to support us.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just saying that's the only way to do it. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we're awfully glad that you listened to our show today, and we're going to cut it short today. We just want to give you our opinion.
And we want to hear what you have to say.
And you can give us your opinion if you go ahead. And what we want you to do, what do we want them to do?